Hi, everybody. Ralph Havens here for the Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More. Welcome to your Sunday session. I am going to take a couple minutes and let everybody log in. And I'm also going to see if we can get everything working for you. So hang on a second. Looks like there's people, signing up. So I'm going to try something and see if the chat works. Is chat working? So it looks like it could be. If anybody wants to chat in, that would be cool to see. Let me know if you can't hear me for any reason. It looks like everything is working. I've been working on trying to figure out the chat room, and it's been quite interesting. So let me just do this one more thing and we'll test it. Is chat working? And I don't know if it's working. How funny. I keep working on this. I will keep trying to do this and see what's going on, but I guess it's not working. Okay, and maybe that's how it's supposed to be. So thank you all for coming on for the Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More session. It's been quite amazing this last week or so, getting ready for today's session. And there's been so many ways that this could go. And a week ago, I thought I had a sense of how it was going to go. And then today it was even a little different. So let me just make sure. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this other thing just to make sure you can hear me. Okay. So I think everything should be up. So welcome to the Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More, and thank you for your emails. What I want to do to start with is, and I sent an email out earlier, so hopefully you were thinking about this. We're going to start with the most direct way that I've been finding to help people get what they want, to tap into this infinite state of possibilities and to manifest stuff, whether it's health or relationships or money or some kind of business deal or some kind of thing that they want, that you all want in your lives. I've been playing with a lot of this stuff, and what is coming up is really pretty cool. So a lot of you know that we have a new baby, 7 weeks old Baden, and so maybe some of this is because of that. But if any of you are parents, you kind of know this, and if you're not, you can kind of get an idea of it, that of how much you can actually love somebody, right? So as I've been playing with this, I've been working with people and talking with people, some of them who have had what are called near-death experiences. So they've passed on and then they came back. And one guy that I'm meeting with tomorrow we've met quite a few times now. He lives up here by Bellingham, Washington. And what he's been saying and what I've been, when I've been interacting with other people that have had these experiences, it's been pretty interesting, and it goes really well with this work, and it goes really well with what's been coming up over the past few months that I've been using. And it's really powerful, and it's not scary, you know, like that kind of thing. But there's a cool technology that we're going to use, and so you know, if you can imagine, it might fit into your belief systems or it might not. But if you could kind of imagine, you know, if there was a creator of all this stuff, you know, the universe, you know, you, me, the trees, the air, the political figures, the world leaders of all sorts, the dirt, the bees. If there was a creator of all this, then you could kind of think like, well, we are part of that. We've been like, as if, we have a family and then we have a new little boy. We're the father and son of this, father and mom of this little boy. And in much the same way, you could think of it, if you have a religious belief or not, it doesn't really even matter. But if you can kind of think of it like whoever or whatever or however that is that we came into existence here, whatever did that or possibly did that, you can imagine how much love that person, thing, God has towards you. And that you are loved very, 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 very much. Now that might seem kind of weird, like, okay, Ralph, yeah. But it's like, but if you actually got that, what would that do for you? So we're going to go there first. And possibly everything that's happening to you, that's happened to you, the problems, the good stuff, everything, possibly it's an expression of this love. Now that might seem kind of weird. And maybe everything that you're doing is an expression of that. Now, when you talk to some of these people that have been on the other side, they talk kind of like that. Like, there's this, I talked to the guy I'm going to talk to again tomorrow, and I said, what's it like? What's it like? Is it a tunnel? Is it a white light? Is it like, what is it? And he goes, no, it wasn't anything like that. It was instantly, I knew everything and I was everything. But also he knew that he had a choice whether he was going to come back or not, if he still had something to do. And he even had a choice to be able to say that, well, I'm bringing this information back with me. So I've been talking to him and getting more and more of a reality of what's going on. Now, about half a year or more ago, I was starting to play with some of these ideas because a lot of you know me, I'm always looking for faster ways to get things done. Like, what's the most direct way to have a change so somebody can have a better life? And about a year ago, I started playing more and more in this realm, and it felt very much like what the people having the near-death experiences were talking about, this other realm where you have access to, you are this everything kind of thing, but yet you're still separate. So like, we still have our egos when we're here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. How else would you know where you are and where somebody else is? So playing in this world, we can start to play with stuff. And as I was playing with this stuff for the past year, some of my teachers that I've been training with, the matrix energetics people and other people, were describing phenomenon, saying that, oh, this is how we're doing what we're doing now. And it was describing things in much the same way that these people that have had the near-death experiences have been talking. So what I've been noticing is a way to play in this space. Yeah. And then notice stuff in the physical world. Now, with all that, I feel like we're still in this dual kind of world. Like, there's the good guys, the bad guys. I got some emails back from, but what about Trump and the way things are going right now and all this stuff? And believe me, I know a lot of the stuff. I see a lot of stuff that just seems like such injustice. And I'm actually working on a lot of stuff to correct that. The stuff I've seen with what these people have told us over the years of what's true, like what's true with diet, what's true with pharmaceuticals, what's true with vaccines, what's true with water, what's true with different things. A lot of it has been not true, and it's been done for money. So it's kind of like funny, so there is sort of this like fight kind of thing, us against them, freedom fighters, truth seekers. But in the middle of it all, it's just another side of the same coin, right? Like, you can't have one without the other in this existence. But I feel like we're able to now start to play with that where we came from to make changes. And so what you might ask yourself is, how is everything that's happened to you so far an expression of this absolute love that you have for yourself, or that God has for you, or the universe has for you? How is everything that's happened an expression of that? So let's go ahead and go to that first. And there's nothing you can do to go to that. I'm going to just go and do this. I'm going to check something real quick because I just want to make sure we are doing well here as far as the technology. Good. I don't get any emails from anybody that we're not totally live. I was working with some stuff that I wanted to make sure. I wanted to try to get the chat room working, but it's, for some reason, that's one thing I haven't manifested. Okay, so it looks like everything is a go. Okay. Okay, so now what I'd like you all to do, whether you're watching live or watching later, it still works. Well, actually, let me read something first, because I think this will kind of set the stage. So I got some wonderful emails back this last week or so, and I'm going to read one. Hey, Ralph, here it is. I know you'll get a kick out of reading this one. It's from somebody on our list, Gabriel. And he says, what can I say about Ralph? Man, this guy's amazing. The way he can help you shift and transform things in your life is profound. So he was writing his testimonial for me. I've been on Ralph's Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More sessions since October of 2016. Since then, I've literally gotten everything I wanted in my life. I created vision boards on my iPhone for each category of my life: home, family, money. And so he goes into great depth there. He did a lot of prayer. He was on this session. He says he has to dream bigger now. And it says it came in one big avalanche of miracles. But recently, here's what's interesting. He broke his femur, broke his leg. And I actually talked to him this week. And he was struck by a car while he was riding his bike, broke his femur, his upper thigh bone, in 2 places. I mean, it could have been devastating, because that bad things can happen like that. And he says, but now he's doing things that he shouldn't be able to do in the 3 weeks since his sessions, and he thinks it's part of being part of our group. So he says it's amazing to see how one's life can shift and change so dramatically over such a relatively short period of time. Okay, so that's I wanted to share that, because even though he had what could be thought of as something really devastating, bad, broke his femur riding his bike, getting hit by a car, his take on it, his spin, was still quite different than what you might expect. Very looking at these miracles. So even that could be thought of as a version of him loving himself, or even God loving him. So what I'm going to have you ask you all to do is, if you loved yourself completely, really cherished yourself, what might you be doing? So for the next moment, if you want, go ahead and check in with, like, if I love myself absolutely, completely, just totally, completely cherished and loved yourself, what might you be doing? And I'm going to tune into all those thoughts and feelings and ideas for you. And then we're going to go to all the beliefs that are in the way of that. So if you were doing that, what would you be doing? So, your fun, your work, your play, your eating. And so you can think of it, like some people think of eating food a certain way, for health, like gluten-free and organic and the ways we talk about eating. And you can think of it as like, well, I don't want to get sick and I want to make sure I live really a good life and a long life. And that's one way to think of it. But another way to think of it is if you truly loved yourself completely, like absolutely, really, really, like you would love your own son or daughter, if you absolutely loved yourself completely, which is possibly how God actually sees you, or the infinite, or the universe sees you, if you were to love yourself like that, how would you eat? Like if you had a really expensive car, a $300,000 Lamborghini, would you put low-grade fuel in it? Or would you put really good fuel in it? Or if you had a racehorse that was worth millions, would you feed it just the cheapest stuff you could find, or would you feed it really, really good food? So you might think of the way you eat as a way to love yourself. So would you feed it stuff that can hurt you? And so then you can think of other things in the same way. So instead of this, you're doing things to stay away from disease, or you're doing things to protect yourself from loss of money things, or, if you were doing things as a complete absolute love of yourself, what would you do? How would you do it? How would you talk? How would you eat? Would you go for a run or a hike? Would you watch TV? Yeah. There we go. So we're going to adjust all of these dials where all the things that you do, would like to do, your dreams, your passions, your goals, how you spend your days, if it was all an expression of how you absolutely love yourself, what might you do? Wow. So when something goes wrong, when something happens and life doesn't seem to be going very well, you can be in that state, and that's okay. And then at the same time, if you want, you can also just kind of go, how is this me loving myself? Or God loving me, or the infinite loving me? Now, some of you know my story, or at least parts of my story. And a while back, it was when we first moved to town in 2013 here, I was out visiting practitioners, and I went to visit this one naturopath chiropractor on a Saturday. So we met at his office, and I was just kind of meeting people. And he said, I want to do your chart, because he did astrology. So he pulled up my chart. He had some big computer program and pulled it up. And he said, that's really interesting. It looks like even all the things that are the problems in your life are actually done to protect you, help you, make you even more get farther down the road, And little did I know that we were about to have some stuff happen where we ended up living in a house that was toxic and making us really sick. And so we ended up living outside for a year in Washington. It's a crazy story. Southern California people moving to the Northwest and then living outside in a tent because the house is too toxic and we were running out of all of our money trying to fix up the house. That doesn't seem like the universe is trying to protect me or love me. But now looking back on it, I can see how that is. All the stuff I learned, that I wouldn't have learned, and just all sorts of miracles. I have a great story. It's kind of funny. Whoa. So how is whatever's going through your life right now a version of an example of you absolutely loving yourself? And if you were to absolutely love yourself today, what might you do? Maybe answer the phone, huh? Wow, this is big, you guys. And you might feel that, what you're feeling in your space. Wow. Now, as this is going, and so as this is going, what I've noticed with this, trying to help somebody, sorry about the phone. What I've noticed, well, this is so interesting, is some stuff can get irritatingly in the way, like a phone. And it's hard to even imagine that it's there to help you. So I'm going to go to all those points, and I don't even know what it's all about, but let's go ahead and invert neutral now. Windows. It's funny, I was so certain a few days ago how this session would go. And then as I was down in the forest down by Ben's Fort today, doing stuff and reading and getting set for the space, I came up to the computer and I was like, oh man, I have no idea what's going to happen today. And I got a little nervous, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But what I feel right now is really big. I remember when Jen's dad passed away, the reverend, the guy, the church pastor, had it all written down what he was going to say on a computer, and it all went blank right before he was to speak. So I think coincidences, those synchronous things, are very magical. We all kind of think like that, I think, if you're on this call. So how is all of this stuff in your life magic? Now, one of the things somebody posted a while back on, they posted something like, what is the best advice you ever got? And I only halfway was joking, but I was really serious. Because Ben, my son, told me quite a while ago, he said, Papa, just be happy. And, you know, he knows how much I want things to change. And we have big plans for the family and for the world and, you know, for the kids. And I see things that, you know, these things that need to be shifted in my world, what I feel should be shifted. And, you know, I see the little autistic kids and I'm like, they don't have to be like that. And the stuff that was done. And I've got these big plans. And then what I've noticed is when I'm in an absolute happy state, magic happens. I mean, it makes sense. Everybody likes to be around happy people, like truly happy people, not like fake happy or so. What's the biggest, best way you could love yourself? Like, what would you be doing? What fun would you be having? Do fun work, do fun things. Man, that's big, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of my notes, actually. and see, because I want to just, it was so big this last couple of weeks, and I want to just check in here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to all the ways, and we all do it, all the ways that we're not loving ourselves completely. Windows. So if you were to realize just how loved and valued you are, what might you notice? Whoa. What would you do? Where are you not loving yourself? Your only job is to love yourself, value yourself, and then embody this. Your truth of your self-worth and self-esteem. This is your job, to love yourself. Wow. Wow, that's so big. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. So, you know how Harry Potter was a wizard, but he was with a bunch of muggles, the non-wizards, his aunt and uncle or something like that, and in their family, and they were trying real hard not to let him realize that he was a wizard. And there was a whole other reality, this Hogwarts school, if you don't know the story, where they knew of Harry Potter and he was a legend. And they were hoping to at some point find him and have him there. But they didn't have him there. And where he was living was, he didn't realize what magic he really was. And so when I talk to some of the people and work with some of the people that have had these near-death experiences, they talk about how in the other realm, you are so amazingly loved and valued and cherished in every single way, unconditionally, just for being you. But in this reality, you might not feel like that. So I'm going to tune in to you and what you really are. So to love yourself and never, ever, ever forsake yourself, what would that be like? Okay, now we're going to go to all the ways that you, I, us, how we how we've forsaken ourselves, thought less than what we really are. So we're going to go to all those spots. And when I do this, it's a way to, oh, I don't need to tell you. Okay, Windows. Now, even so, you could think, well, if it's like this, then I can do what I want, right? Like I can eat junk food, I can live a certain way, I can treat people a certain way. It's like if you absolutely knew how amazingly loved and cherished you are, what would you do? What would you eat? Who would you hang out with? What would you talk about? What would you do for work? How would you be at work? Yeah, it's a different perspective than doing stuff because you have to, or because you're trying to not get sick, or you're just doing it because you love yourself so much and you are loved so much. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go to this. Okay. Now we're going to adjust the dial a little bit and not take all of this so seriously. So here goes. Yeah, if you were to enjoy work and do a lot of fun things and laugh, what might you notice? So now I'm noticing belief systems. Yeah. So for Melody, let's notice a lotus flower. Whew, this is big. So I could talk about, I think I've talked about the yogurt experiment before. But yeah, we'll just leave it right now. It's going big for you guys, for us. Yeah, right in your heart space, a lotus flower. Yeah. How might you have fun? The kind of fun where you wake up in the morning and you just wake up with a big smile because you had so much fun the day before. That feels good. I am going to go look through everybody's emails again and see what we want to check in with. Yeah, so something interestingly cool happened this week, and I got some news that sounded really stressful, like I might have just lost a lot of money because of some stuff. And so I had to call somebody, and I don't remember what I was doing, but I was definitely in this space setting this up for us today, but also doing other work. Maybe I was with clients. I forgot. It was a work day, but I used this. I went and said, okay, how is this me loving myself? And I noticed that shift. And then when I interacted to figure out what was going on, it all worked out amazingly, magically, really, really well. Very heartfelt stuff. So that was one of my experiences this week. Okay, so we're going to go to, again, Melody and what's going on in America right now, and all these problems and stuff like this, and the conservatives and the liberals, and we're going to just notice they're on the same coin. They're just different sides of the same coin. So I'm going to turn them both. And then I'm going to go to our belief systems, and how is all of this part of us loving ourselves? Awesome. Okay, so okay, how do I want to do this one? I'm going to do this like this. So for K in Mozambique. And also San in Swaziland and India. Okay, now let's go to let me see, how do I want to do this? I'll just say Han in Mozambique. For some reason, there's a few Africans here with us, which is so cool. For some reason, I love all you guys. Ooh. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to open the doors for happiness. It's so funny. When I open the doors for happiness, I was expecting it all to rush in to you, but instead what I see is it all coming out from you. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to go for Jeffrey and Susan. Let's move these two patterns like this. And for everybody that's not Jeffrey or Susan, know that when I work with Jeffrey or Susan, that you can have a shift too. And I've noticed this throughout the years of doing this work. When I work with somebody, other people have big shifts too. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. It's kind of like when you're not looking, big stuff happens. So when I let go, it's even bigger. Yeah, now let's just pull this apart until it can't go back like it was. And then I can do this. Okay, how might you be you today? I already got Anitra. You got that one. Okay, we're going to go to teeth. As some of you know my story, teeth were one of my big epiphanies. When I was first starting some of this work, I thought I was going to a therapist because I couldn't run for 8 months. And she found a problem with my heart and worked on my heart and my vessels of my heart. And then 2 days later, I could run after 8 months of not being able to run. So I started taking a lot of these classes. And as I took a lot of the classes and got the work done on myself, I noticed that my teeth were well. I didn't have any cavities. And I had had cavities since I was 12, even had teeth pulled and implants and all sorts of stuff. One implant anyway, and other things. And I always was paying off a dentist. But with this work, I no longer had any cavities. I haven't had cavities for 20 plus years. So we're going to use that reference. We're going to bring frequency 17 and move your assemblage points now. Yeah, bringing in a big oak wood. There's so much that we have no idea how it's all laid out, right? I think we will once we're on the other side, but we're going to bring Oakwood, Houston, and go. This is a reminder for me to let you know we have a big resource page. I'll email you the link again and the YouTube playlist of a lot of videos. I've made a lot of videos recently for you all, because what I've noticed is I used to be in a lot more duality, like me against them, and do things to try to protect myself and my clients. And more I'm getting, no, it's pure love. And we do these things because we love our bodies, we love ourselves, we love our families. So we eat good food, we do certain things, we avoid certain toxins, but not out of fear, more just because that's what you do when you love yourself. You don't do crap, right? So I've made a bunch of videos of ways to do this. So you can go to the YouTube channel and look in the resource page link. I'll send that to you all again. And some of the things related to diet and nutrition are really, really important. Yeah. And I've given a bunch of self-treatment techniques. So we're going to put all this stuff that I've given you, and it's things that I've learned over the 32 plus years of doing this work that works. And we're going to put it in place for you energetically. And what you can do this, is to go and look through them and find some and use some and do the different things and email me, and I can point you in directions for yourself so that you can do things that support you, yeah, in the way that you love yourself. So we're going to take all that and Windows. And I'm going to do the sleep blueprints for Mira. Sleep blueprints 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So all the stuff I've studied, Windows. I'm going to move a reference point. But that means I'm going to move this for Minerva over here. And let's go see, let's bring this one in. 2 point. This will be cool. I'm going to shift the woman with the concerns around her breast and lungs and pancreas. Or my good friend from the Southern Africa. It was a big heart. Okay, we're going to use a quote from John Muir that Joyce wrote me. John Muir, the guy that was way into nature, he used to go out in the woods and climb up in trees in the middle of giant thunderstorms just because he wanted to experience all that amazing nature. Okay, when we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. So we're going to go to that whole web. Yeah. Okay, now what I'd like you to do, whether you're watching live or later, because yeah, I keep every once in a while thinking I need to explain what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. And I realize it's more like important just to know, okay, let's just do it. So if you want to now, go to, if you were absolutely, completely, unconditionally loving yourself today and tomorrow and over the next few days and the next few years, if you were completely loving yourself, what would you be doing? So take a moment now and go to that. What would you be doing? Who would you be doing it with? What would you be doing for work? How would you be laughing? Who would you be laughing with? What kind of fun would you be having? Go ahead and do this now. And notice how you feel. Wow. Now, one of the things I'm getting is that so many times whenever we're doing something, whether it's business or other things, we want to make it just so perfect. Like you don't want to release it to the world until it's good, right? Like you don't want to do a bad product or not do some project that you want to do unless you can get it just perfectly good, right? But that's really, that perfectionism is just another version of fear. It's that procrastination is just fear. And what's really important is if you were to absolutely know how truly loved you really, really are, how truly cherished you really are, and then did stuff knowing that, that's what people feel. This day and age of instant technology, people can see the bullshit. And so they don't need a slick version of you to show up. They need the real you to show up. How might you do that? Because they can feel that. And the interesting thing about it is that's what really transforms lives. How can you be you today? How can you completely, unconditionally love yourself? A lot of people try to do so much stuff for other people, right? And you have that thing from the spiritual traditions, love yourself as your neighbor, or love others as your neighbor. Love whatever, you know what I mean. Do unto others as you would do unto you. Love others as you love yourself. But the flip, the thing to that is, how much do you love yourself? Oh, this is big. Wow, this is really big. So now, let's see. Yeah, so if you were to love yourself, what kind of work would you be doing? What kind of fun would you be having? What would you be doing? Total perfected essence. Now, just so I don't miss anything, so I get it all good for all of us, I'm going to go get everybody on our list. Oh, cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, here goes. Army, Brenna, Beth, Carolyn, Chad, Cheyenne, Chinwen, Darian, Ellie Lynn, Emily, Emmy, Linda, Gabriel, Jen with a G, Jen with a G, Klaus Varnish, Nancy, J dash Jex, Son, Jeffrey, Jen T, JT, JRE, K Joel, Kelly, Nancy, Kirsten, Kim, Anitra, Margaret, Joyce, Lisa, Minerva, Paula, Rafa, Ralph, Sandra, Mary, Stacy, Star Woman, Susan, Jenny, Robin, Ushant, BT, Kerr, Mira, Yuan, and Ziffady. Yeah, so you've done this session and you're in it now. You do this now. So what you might notice now is all the things that are different. The different synchronous things, coincidences, the miracles, they're all miracles. And you can make a mental note of like, oh, look at that. That's different. That's different. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. That's different. He never treats me like that. That's very different. Just start to notice what's different and acknowledge the miracles that you see, even if they might be considered little miracles, coincidences, or synchronicity. You can just notice them and acknowledge them. And there's something magic that happens when you do that. And then I would love to hear what you're noticing. So email me as much as you want, as often as you can. Let me know what's different today, what's different even after just this moment, in the next moment, and over the rest of the day, and over the rest of the next week, and until next week. We have 3 of these sessions this July, and I'm uploading a lot more videos. So while it's useful in these spiritual kind of ways to do energy work and to do stuff with mindset, it's also useful to do stuff in the real world. And if we can think of it as different versions of how you love yourself, then it's not like you're trying to do things to protect yourself or to stave off disease or something like that. You're doing it because you just love yourself, because the universe loves you so much. And you know how loved you are. So of course you're going to eat good food, and you're going to not do toxins, and you're going to do certain things, and you're going to educate yourself about stuff. So I've made a lot of videos about this information, and it's on the resource page. I will email that to you again, and then I'll be uploading a lot more. It's already on, a lot of it's already on the website, just not organized out yet. So if you see something that says IMG for the videos, but without any other name, it just means I haven't gone in and labeled it yet. But there's a lot of real good stuff that I found that's worked over 32 years of doing this work. And you can find what works for you. Email me any particular things you have for yourself, and I can get back to you about what I recommend. And then that's good. It's been great to have you here today. And if you were to be you today, how might you do it? Okay, I will see you all in a week, I believe. I'll send you an email about the next one. And everybody, bye for now.